Hello guys, NautoAce here, and I want to give my thoughts on the Capcom Showcase that happened on June the 14th, 2022. So I have to say, this one's a little bit better than last year, but as expected, Capcom did warn people that one, they're not going to announce anything new. It's going to be games that's already been announced before, just new info. And the director of Street Fighter said after what happened to the Summer Game Fest 2022 that they're going to go to a quiet period. So that's expected there. So I'm going to get with that one with Street Fighter 6. It's probably going to be Evil's the next new announcement. Probably Kimberly, but it is what it is there. So with that said, I want to give my thoughts on the whole shebang with Capcom Showcase. Because I have to say, a lot of information. It is interesting. Even for me, that I'm not a fan of this franchise to some extent, I'm like, yeah, I might give them a chance. Such as first is, they gave more info on Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak. So, introducing new environment, new monsters, and new features on the game. And of course, the guy behind the franchise said they're gonna have new updates, new features gonna be in it once the game comes out June the 30th. So yeah, I have the original game, Monster Hunter Rise. For me, I do able to play them, but I'm trying to figure out how to get far because I'm not good. Because I have Monster Hunter World, I don't have Iceborne yet, and I have Rise, but I don't have the Sunbreak yet. I don't think I'm gonna buy it maybe in the long run. But what they showed was actually good, a lot of information, so I'm gonna props to them there. I know they did not mention the amiibo, but probably gonna come out same day, June 30th. But of course, unfortunately, GameStop exclusive, and you can't pre-order them. That's a new rule now. But I kind of showed some pictures in the past lately in my Instagram and even in the amiibo get that just be patient. I've been going to my GameStop, and once in a while I'll say, oh, there's that Monster Hunter figure. Oh, that's cool. So again, cool what they showed. I might give it a chance in the long run if it goes cheap, because like I said, I'm not an uber Monster Hunter fan. However, they will have a demo on the Switch and Steam, so props there. So before going to their next game, they also did a Capcom Spotlight, which I said already before. Street Fighter 6, they just made an announcement that yeah, there will be new announcement later this year. So my guess, again, like I said, Evo of 2022. And then reminders for Capcom Stadium the 2nd. It's going to come out the end of July. And as of right now of this recording, you can get Street Fighter 2 The World Warrior free for the first Capcom Arcade Stadium. Another one they also remind people coming next week is the Capcom Fighting Collection. Buy that game, you're going to get a code to get 3 wonders for Capcom Arcade Stadium 2nd. So again, props there. So moving from that one is they showcase more of Exo Primal, which is Gears of War meets Dino Crisis, because all you do is just shoot dinosaur. There's some sort of horde mode. They show some gameplay, and that they will have a closed beta if you sign up, and the game's going to come out in 2023. Thoughts about that one is, if it's like Gears of War, you just run and shoot, maybe I'll give it a chance, because I do love those games, believe it or not. I did enjoy playing Gears of War games. So again, right now it's a new IP to some extent. I mean, dinosaur, people really wanted Dino Crisis, but it is what it is. So the game itself, how it works, look interesting. It could be fun. I'll think about going to the closed beta maybe, but if it's all about just shooting dinosaur, and it's also sort of a competitive team base, so I wouldn't be surprised if this could be an esports thing to some extent, but that'll be a different story there. But yeah, Exo Primal kind of look interesting. It's not a stealth game, it's not a horror game. It's just guys on exo suits. They also showcase different version of exo suits, such as a tank type, a sniper type, of course a gunner type. So again, I'll just wait and see. Not gonna come out until 2023. And then they announced Dragon Dogma 10th anniversary, and the guy behind it just said, oh, we're gonna give you a retrospective of the game. So there's no new game, I guess. But I kind of wonder why Dragon Dogma Dark Arisen basically $5. So I kind of see why now there, because it's $5 on the Xbox, PlayStation 4, and maybe Steam, and maybe even the Switch. So again, not really a fan of that game. I did play it before, the original one. couldn't really go far because I have no idea what to do. So moving that one is closing with this one is the Resident Evil franchise. So I'm not a fan of the franchise. However, I do play those games. I play most of them. I never played Resident Evil 7 because of the first person. And I said, I wish if it's on third person, I probably gonna be able to play it. That wish came through, but I'll talk about that later. So first, they showed Resident Evil Village. They showed the new update. First, the new DLC, the Shadow Rose, which takes place 16 years after the event of the original Resident Evil Village. And you play as the daughter of Ethan Winters, Rose. She has powers. And at first I'm like, wait, why are you going back to the castle? This is weird. But apparently it's not. They kind of took some note from Evil Within 2. Basically, she does something and you go inside her mind. So the gameplay is basically it's in her mind. Makes sense. So if it's going to be some weird supernatural, you're going to see there why. So that's going to be an interesting story there because they also show like the fatty salesman. He was a bad guy there. So, oh boy. So I don't know what that means, but we'll just have to wait and see. So another one is they add new characters on the mercenary mode. Now you get to play as Chris Redfield with his all Call of Duty weapons. And that's two from the Resident Evil Village villain. I forgot their name. I'm not a fan, that's why, but they're there. So now you get to play as that giant lady that everybody loves to sit on, I guess. It's a meme there. But the biggest one for me that I'm like, finally the answer to this question. People request this since Resident Evil 7, and that is third-person mode. I even said to myself, if there's a third-person mode in Resident Evil Village and Resident Evil 7, I could give him a chance. The answer to that with Resident Evil Village. So finally, Resident Evil Village will have an update that you can go third person. So finally, maybe in the long run now, I'll give it a chance. Now the question is how they kind of talk about it. So there is a game called Resident Evil Village Gold Edition. And I'm gonna guess it's all the DLC included on this one or some quality of life improvement. I don't know yet. It's kind of like hard to understand what they were saying. Because there was called the Ethan Winters expansion, which is all the DLC there. So my guess probably here is that for people who already have the game, they can just buy the expansion and Gold Edition is going to be included with those things. So kind of makes sense. So by 2023, Resident Evil Village Gold Edition is going to go cheap. So that's what happened with Resident Evil 7 also. When Gold Edition came out, it kind of went cheap to some extent there. So finally, third person. I've been wishing for that one. A lot of people did, so they finally did it with Village. So before they closed, they also showed Resident Evil 7, Resident Evil 2 Remake, and Resident Evil 3 Remake finally going to be on the current gen system. PS5, Series XS, and update on PC. So finally, that was announced before. So now finally you can play it there with the latest power. But the best part here is credit to Capcom. If you have the PS4 version or the Xbox One version of this game, there's a free update to make it to a PS5 version or Series XS. So that's props there. The only bum out that I have is that Resident Evil 7 will be only in first person, and that's it. So, but that's all, folks. So I don't think they're gonna go back with Village, but it would be nice. I hope they go back to Resident Evil 7 and kind of put a third person mode. But right now, at least Village is doing it. So props to the people there. So awesome. And then closing with that is Resident Evil 4. They kind of explain it'll be more horror than action, and they kind of showed a bit of a gameplay of Leon walking to the village. Whatever. Like I said, I'm not really a fan of the franchise, but I can play them. The only concern is, how do you make this better than the original? Because the original one was made by Shinji Mikami, and yes, it is to some extent, even though it's a horror game, it is more actiony. I played it on the PS4. It drives me crazy because it was hard for me. Because again, I'm not a Resident Evil fan. So how do you make that into a horror? How is it going to be better than the original if the original one is already one of the best Resident Evil games, according to the fans? That's going to be tricky. Are they going to put elements from Resident Evil Infinite of Darkness, the Netflix show, I did watch that, recommended, good story. Again, who knows about it? So that's a concern there. That's very, very concerning. But Resident Evil going to the right place. Capcom themselves, they're going in a good direction from their franchise. They're learning their mistake from the past, especially in 2013, 2014, when they do not have a lot of money. They couldn't even make games to a point that they had to outsource. And of course, with Street Fighter 6, they learned their lesson from what happened to Street Fighter 5. Everything going smoothly. And I'm probably going to give my thoughts on Street Fighter 6, like whole business, the procedure. Not about the hands-on that Max and other influencer got. I really don't care. As long as the game is fun, that's all that matters to me. But I'm going to talk about the business and the procedure for this game. But that'll be a different video there. So as expected, no new announcement. There is no new announcement. You already said it. So if you're wondering, can we have a Mega Man Battle Network Collection or Legend Collection, etc., etc.? I wanted to. None. They're not announcing anything new because right now they're already releasing a lot of retro games ready for the time being. The fighting game collection, they want that to sell first. Remember the Capcom Test 2022. And then on end of July, the Capcom Arcade Stadium 2nd. So after that, then maybe in late 2022 to 2023, maybe Capcom then they can do a Mega Man Network Collection, Mega Man Legend Collection, Mega Man Star Force Collection, whatever. I'm going to assume 2023 because that's going to be the 35th anniversary of Mega Man, if I'm right. If I'm not, then whoopsie me, because if I remember, 2018 was the last anniversary. I don't know, but I'm just guessing this. So who knows? Maybe 2023 is the year of Mega Man. So we'll just have to wait and see for them. But overall, this is one of the better ones than last year. More info on games already come out, but it wasn't boring. They had new info that it wasn't talked about. Yeah, it wasn't like awesome, but it was like finally a lot of this question had been answered. So those are my thoughts on the Capcom Showcase of 2022. Awesome. Gotta give props to Capcom. So with that, I'll see you guys later.